All righty. You are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium with today. The 16-0 playoff-bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Cincinnati Bengals. And why are the Cincinnati Bengals 0-16? Because they suck. They've been around since 1968. Ain't never won nothing. I believe they're 0-3 in the Super Bowl, baby. You know what? That makes you suck. Cincinnati Bengals, you suck. Get out of here. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there all is going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free. Fire away. But Buzz also, seriously, I mean, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free once again. Fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third membership level I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live, or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Maybe if you give this video a thumbs up or share it, that would be freaking awesome. And then finally, also, a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. The one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. Can't stand change. I'm like one of them get off my lawn kind of guys. Get off my lawn. Get off my weeds. I can't stand change. It's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me. It'll always be Twitter to me. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on you, bro. I'm not calling it that. It's Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's a promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff in my Twitter account every day. And then finally, the link just on top of it, it's a Facebook link. It takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, The Gridiron. Very original, I know. It's my Facebook group. We have over 8,100 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'm putting stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but if you become a member, members post stuff in this group as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in this group every day. It's the New York Giants, The Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, all that stuff said and done and out of the way with. Well, I mean, it's kind of like, what do you want to say? Yeah, it's like, as the Darren Waller turns, right? What was it? Howard Cross, I'm Big Blue Kickoff. The one thing I like about Howard Cross is because Howard was with the Giants. I mean, not only did he come from Alabama, can't stand Alabama, but not only did he come from a big-time college, right? But he was also with the Giants for a long time, right? So he's got a lot of experience and knowledge. So, when you listen to, stuff he says, it's hard to argue with a lot of stuff he says. And one of the things he did mention, it makes some sense, right? Is one of the shows they did last week. I can't remember what day it was. It's like Wednesday, maybe a Thursday show that he was on last week, and they were talking about Darren Waller, right? And Howard Cross said, if you're thinking about retirement, you're almost already retired. If something like that is kind of, popping in your head, you kind of almost retired, so don't know which way it's going to go with Waller and all that and everything. I'm not, it's obviously, I'm sure the Giants are going to want to, obviously, know something. I mean, because what do we got? An hour and 14 minutes. It's going to be April. The 25th is the draft, so we're getting down to like 3.5 weeks for the, so I'm sure they're going to want to know something, especially, that could wind up being huge, obviously. Hey, crazy things happen. So you never know. But, I don't know if the Giants are going to take Brock Bowers in the draft. However, if, Waller were to retire someplace in the next week or so, 2 weeks or whatever, Giants, maybe going into the draft, we can't be looking for another blocking tight end. I mean, it's right, because if you look, is this here? Okay, there we go. All right. We got tight ends aplenty. We got like 6 of them. Adoree Jackson, Lawrence Cager, Jack Stoll, Chris Manhertz. I think Chris Manhertz has been around since, I don't know. I think George Washington was in presidency when he has like 20 career catches. Stoll is a blocker, right? Daniel Bellinger, he's one of the, Daniel Bellinger's got some good hands, but he's not somebody who's going to, go out there, become a huge mismatch like Waller would, So, the Giants to go into the season with Manhertz and Stoll and Adoree Jackson and Lawrence Cage and Daniel Bellinger, it's kind of like, ain't nothing there keeping no defensive coordinator up at nighttime. I'll tell you what, the defensive coordinators, they're looking at the Giants tight end group and they're like, wow, I could sleep good this week. I ain't worried about nobody. Really, if you look at, if you look at the Giants, Waller's not there, right? Especially because last year, basically our number one wide receiving threat, weapon, whatever you mismatch, whatever you want to call it, was Darren Waller. And of course, with his hamstrings, he missed in some games, right? And our other weapon was Saquon Barkley. So now, right, if you figure, if Waller retires, Saquon Barkley, of course, he's with the Eagles. They overpaid for him. Then you look at Daniel Jones as the starting quarterback, right? And you're looking at, I can't say I've spent 3 hours breaking it down and all of that and everything, but you've got to see, without question, the Giants' offensive weapons, offensive group there and all, it's got to be easily in the bottom 10 of the league. If you're looking at Slayton, Robinson, Hyatt, Bellinger, Daniel Jones, and and Singletary, right? It's like you're kind of like, oh my God, it could be another long season, right? So we need to start, re-adding some weapons once again, and let's hope. Let's get on our knees and get down, and when we hit our knees tonight, we look up to sweet dear baby Jesus. Please, sweet dear baby Jesus, let the Giants add some weapons, or at least one weapon, and when it comes time for our weapons, when their contracts are up, sweet dear baby Jesus, let's re-sign them. Let's actually draft weapons, develop the weapons, and keep the weapons. Thank you, sweet dear baby Jesus. That's all I want for Christmas. Is that something? Can we? Right? Can we? Is that asking too much? I say, don't get me wrong, Wan'Dale Robinson. He will, even ABCD Lamb was praising him big time last season, And I tell you what, when you got another wide receiver, especially of ABCD's caliber, praising Wan'Dale Robinson, he says the routes he runs and all that and everything, and cool, you love it. Let's not forget about the speed that Hyatt has. All Darius Slayton does, right? We drafted him in the 5th round. All he does is every year lead the team in receiving. and you figure we don't have Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball. Darius Slayton's out there leading the team in receiving it almost every freaking year, and we have no number one target out there, right? And we don't have a great offensive line. We have no, as I said, we don't have Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball, and he's out. So it's Singletary, nice. But I said, but you look at a lot of the teams, even with the Chiefs. I mean, they don't have the greatest running back or the greatest wide receiver, but they got Kelsey and they got Patrick Mahomes, right? So you look at a lot of, look at the freaking Eagles, right? Now they got Saquon, but Goddard, he's a very good, maybe he's not the top 2 tight ends or something like that, but he's up there. He's a very good, dependable weapon, but what also makes him so much better, he's got A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith out there. That opens stuff up for him, right? So, you look at the Eagles, they got Brown, they got Goddard, now they got Saquon Barkley, they got DeVonta Smith. They got Goddard and we got Daniel Bellinger. They got A.J. Brown. We got Darius Slayton. They got DeVonta Smith. We got Jalen Hyatt. It's kind of like, they have a very, very good offensive line, and we have a bottom 10 offensive line. It's kind of like, it's like, what the is going on? Why can't we, what I mean? So without question, either this season or next season, we have to add a good weapon as far as in the tight ends. But I'm saying, but it might quite possibly change the Giants. Maybe. I said, I keep saying all the time is that let's look and see what we do in the draft this season, next year's free agency, and next year's draft, and then we look and see what we got as a team. But between this season and next season, we're definitely going to need some type of a receiving tight end. And I don't mean to bring somebody, if we're going to bring in somebody who might be a decent receiving tight end, we're going to go over this article here. If he's going to be a placeholder for a year, okay, but let's draft somebody or bring somebody in for at least a few years or something like that. Where we have a good threat in the tight end department. All right, so let's see. Let's see if I can do this here without screwing this stuff up here. Oh, there we go. All right. So I got this here. Okay. With Darren Waller considering retirement, Giants focusing on plan B at tight end. New York Giants thought they had their tight end situation solved when they traded for former Pro Bowl Darren Waller. 2023 season was not Waller's best by far. 31-year-old was once again felled by injury bug, missing the better part of 5 games with a hamstring issue. And the same thing's going to happen this season. Even if he does come back, the same thing's going to happen this season without question. The season is opening with Waller still undecided on whether he will retire from football or give it one more go. As the NFL draft looms, the Giants remain in the dark. Shane said, I talked to his agent. Darren is going to take time and make his decision. He's still undecided. I'm not going to get into the details. I've talked to him. He is undecided. But the Giants have not exactly been sitting on their hands. They recently signed 2 veterans in free agency, Stoll and Manhurts. But they can sign me as a tight end too, right? It doesn't mean we're going to help them, as far in the receiving part, right? And they appear to be preparing financially for a season without Waller. Now I'm saying the one nice thing, okay, is if Waller does retire, that's going to open up some, as we talk about right here from Chad Forbes at NFL Draft Bites. Safe to assume the Giants operating on assumption that Darren Waller isn't part of the 2024 plan. And without question, if he does come back for this season, you can almost guarantee it that he will not be part of the 2025 plans, right? Giants can release Waller post June 1st and save $11.625 million against the cap. Certainly not back at the price tag. So they would save $11.625 million. Nice chunk of change. Okay. Let's see here. Giants have not met with any tight end prospects in the upcoming NFL draft, though, as far as we know. Their tight end room heading into camp without Waller would be Bellinger, Stoll, Manhurts, Adoree Jackson, and Cager. Shane did not rule out adding a tight end and between now and the beginning of the season. We're excited about those guys. Well, what else do you want him to say? He's not going to say, well, the guys we got, oh, yeah, they suck. Yeah, we ain't catching no pass. You know what I mean? So we'll probably have the worst tight end receiving group in all the NFL. He's not going to say that. He says, we're excited about those guys, Shane said. Of Stoll and Manhurts. Okay, I'm glad you're excited. Unless we're going to run the ball 99% of the time, I'm not excited. Right? We still have the draft. We don't play until September. You just have to be patient. Now, another one of the things also is that, especially, okay, things, and once again, what Shane is saying is absolutely correct. Things happen. After the final cut down, you got teams going from 90 down to 53. That's what is it? If my spidey senses are done, what was it? 32 teams, we're each letting go 37 players. That's well over 1,000 players, right? Are going to be hitting the market. And once the final, and if the Giants have a little bit of do-re-mi, right? If a team here or a team there lets go somebody who might be a nice receiving threat, maybe even for a year or so, and the Giants have some do-re-mi, maybe, they might be able to pick up a free agent. I'm not exactly sure who's still out there, but I'm sure I'm almost positive there's still some good receiving tight ends out there, even if we have them for a year, right? So there's ways to acquire players throughout the process. Now, once again, what did we do with Waller? We traded for him, right? Shane was on the phone. We need somebody, and especially once again, as I said, if Waller were to retire, the Giants will have some do-re-mi. If the Giants looking, they're looking, and I don't know what teams, whatever, but just say there's a young tight end out there, and who's a good receiving tight end, maybe just a baby, right? Might be on his. This could be maybe he's going into his 4th season or something like that with a certain team. Okay. And he's going to command whatever, 15, 16. I don't know names out there, so please forgive me. But I'm just saying, if Shane's looking at a team, right, and he's like, you know what, that team there, they got 3 nice young tight ends. That one, this is his 4th season. And he's going to be a free agent after the season's over. He might want about 15, 16, 17, whatever, something like that a season. We just saved 11 with Waller, right? I wonder if they'd want to trade, because then I look at my books, this team who has this player, they might be a little strapped for cash next season. They might want to maybe let go of this guy. And if they let this guy go, they might want to get something in return. So why don't I pick the phone up, right? Call X team, see what their plans are with X player, right? And maybe offer him a draft pick for next season. I'll give you a 3rd round. What do we do for Waller, right? 3rd round pick. I'll give you a 3rd round pick for so-and-so. That'll that way, instead of him hitting free agency and maybe you not getting nothing in return, if he's not in your plans for the long term, we'll take him off your hands. Maybe now you get yourself a 3rd round pick, right? And now so there's all ways of doing that. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say. There's ways to acquire players throughout the process, he continued. We did it with Jason Pinnock. We got him at the final cut down, right? There's different times of the year when you can acquire players, and we're going to give Darren his time, and I'm going to keep mine and Darren's conversations between us. But we're looking forward to the players that are going to be there in April, and we'll keep building. So, and meanwhile, Waller will be given as much time as he needs to make his decision. But it would be nice, and it would be nice if he let the Giants know maybe before the draft, which would possibly help the Giants. Because obviously one of the ways to do it would be in the draft as well, too. Right? Waller will be given as much time as he wants, but the old saying about retirement: if you're entertaining it, you're likely going to do it. Because it's not something obviously to be taken lightly. I mean, it's a lot of wear and tear on your body. It takes a long toll and all of that. I mean, the one thing is, with Waller, he knows the system, right? So, I mean, if he's trying to, that's all I'm saying, trying to get out where he's thinking about contemplating retirement and it gets into June and July or whatever, and basically he's trying to avoid training camp or something like that. Maybe that's a possibility too. Who knows? But I mean, it's a long commitment. A lot of days, long days. You beat your body up and everything like that. Does that, you got to weigh it out. Is it worth another season of frustration? Because I'll be playing with the Giants, and I got news flash for you: they're not winning the Super Bowl this season. So I don't want to play maybe my final season in the NFL with a team that's not going anywhere. I mean, hey, we're gonna hopefully we'll be playing for a playoff spot, maybe going into the playoffs. Maybe what we did a couple of seasons ago against the Vikings. Who knows, right? If we can stay healthy, right? But, as far as maybe us going to the championship game and going to the, that you can probably pretty much rule that out. But, it's like, so, but then again, well, it's financial wise too, but apparently he's trying to become I think a rapper. He has his career afterwards that he's looking forward to. But, I mean, if he can make one more nice little payday, pick himself up, whatever his salary is for this season, it's maybe hard to pass up as well too. But it's it's not the easiest on your body and all. It's a long season. Now it's 18 weeks. So and plus obviously then they got the preseason and all that. So it's a long season. It's tough. But once again, as I said in that article, if you're entertaining it, quite possibly you just might be wind up doing it. So love to wait and see. Then we have here. Now it's kind of interesting. This is from Giants Wire, right? Giants Brian Daboll among bottom third of NFL head coach rankings. Now the interesting thing, right, is because he goes from the coach of the year, right? He goes from the coach of the year. So now all of a sudden, like after another year, now he's like in the bottom third. Okay, let me get rid of this here. Darren Waller here. Okay. New York Giants head coach Brian Daboll was named the NFL's coach of the year in his first season on the job in 2022, and then slipped back into the pack after a 6-11 showing last season. Well, I mean, if a lot of the, now there were some questionable things and all that stuff and everything, so I understand, but I mean, if a lot of those other coaches had all the injuries that he had, the season wouldn't have gone that well for a lot of teams as well, too, right? Dallas Robinson of Pro Football Network recently ranked all 32 NFL head coaches, in which he explains how Daboll has suddenly become very ordinary. He has Brian Daboll at number 22, regular season record 15-18-1. Winner of the NFL's 2022 Coach of the Year award. Brian Daboll went through it in 2023. Daniel Jones missed several games. I mean, that's the same thing. As I said, you're talking about the quarterback. Not many teams like that. Like, hey, I probably got a news flash here for you. If the Kansas City Chiefs lost Patrick Mahomes and they had to put their third string quarterback in there, news flash for you, they're not Super Bowl champions, right? So a lot of it's got to do with luck as well too. If your team gets decimated by injuries, guess what? Like if Travis Kelce for the Chiefs gets injured, they got to put their other right, and then they got to put their third string quarterback in there, and they have no Travis Kelce. Guess what? Chiefs ain't Super Bowl champions. Newsflash. I mean, so a lot of it's luck as well, too, right? Let's see. Daniel Jones with torn ACL, and the Giants were eventually forced to roll with undrafted free agent Tommy DeVito under center. Daboll's sideline blow-ups became a talking point, while his turbulent relationships with defensive coordinator Wink Martindale eventually led to the latter's resignation. Daboll opened his Giants career with 7 wins in his first 9 games, but then things started to flatten out fast. Sure, the Giants made it to the playoffs and even won a playoff game, but it was evident the initial shine had vanished off the apple. Okay. Since week 11 of 2022, the Giants have gone 9-17-1. Ouch. Including the playoff win. So if you take just regular season since week 11 of 2022, if you take away the playoffs, well, I mean, if you go in the playoffs, we had a playoff loss. So the Giants would be 8-16-1, which is still very bad, right? And have been classified by many a media talking head as a dumpster fire. This, after nearly a decade of ineptitude, poor management, and bad luck, was the last thing the Giant fans expected to happen. The 2022 playoff appearance appears to have been fool's gold, at least potentially. However, Daboll and general manager Joe Schoen still maintain the support of ownership, but need to win this season nonetheless. But, obviously they need, we need to see some improvement, but also a lot of it has to, is luck. A lot of it is luck. If Graham Gano, talking about injuries, if his leg was not injured, he probably kicks that field goal against the Jets, and we probably secure a victory against the Jets and win that game. So a lot of it is luck. The Giants had a lot of luck going for them, maybe in 2022, when a lot of those close games, we had a lot of bad luck going against this 2023. Maybe this season, if we get some good and some bad, if we kind of get a happy medium, maybe things, maybe Giants can get maybe 9 wins or so, right? Who knows? Whatever, 8, 9, 10 wins, So, Maris, he's looking. I'm sure he's not talking Super Bowl enough, but he obviously wants to see improvement, and improvement would be, obviously we need to win more than just 6 games. I mean, 8 or 9 would certainly be an improvement, right? And I said then after next season, with the draft and free agency and all that, we want to keep improvement, but I said a lot of it's got to do with luck. Can we avoid the major injury bugs this season? You don't know. You just don't know. All right, next up, what do we got here? Oh, the regrade of the 2023 NFL draft. Things don't go too well for the Giants and let's see here. The jury is still out on the 2023 NFL draft class, but Deontay Lee of The Athletic recently decided to grade the class after just one season. The New York Giants have had 7 picks in the draft, leading off with Maryland cornerback Deonte Banks at number 24. And remember, we traded up to get him as well, too. He started 15 games. He was solid most of the season. He is now considered the number 1 outside corner, so they appear to have made a good choice with him. I have to agree there. Banks was not likely the Giants' first choice on the board, however. They were said to be in the market for a wide receiver, and it just so happens that 4 studs were, oh my God, yeah, this was, I'll tell you what, it was absolutely freaking amazing, because as with the wide receivers, as the players kept getting drafted, I'm like, oh my God. We got to a certain point. It's like, oh my God, there's still like 4 wide receivers there. It's like, wow, Giants got a good chance to get one of those wide receivers. And it was almost like bam, 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 bam. It's like, what the? It's like, it all came right off the. I'm like, I said, and when Seattle drafted one, I'm like, what the? Do they need a wide receiver for? They got Lockett and Metcalf. And what do they need a wide receiver for? Then I got they drafted another one. Yeah, what? But I thought for sure that Seattle was not going to draft a wide receiver, but they did. So, right before Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, Quentin Johnson, May Flowers, and Jordan Addison all off the board. The rest of the draft is still very much a mystery, as injuries and underuse left much to be desired. The Giants got, according to this guy, got a C-. Now it's kind of, but once again, some of it has to do with injuries. Okay, some of it. All right. Now, it says Deonte Banks, number 24, was fun watching coming out of college, and as a rookie showed the speed, physicality, and competitive edge that made him a late riser in the NFL draft process. Jalin Hyatt, number 73, flashed some downfield ball tracking skills, but he didn't separate enough last season to be considered a long-term piece of this offense. This year, the Giants hope to see some growth in center from John Michael Schmitz. Now, the thing is with Schmitz, he had some good moments. Obviously, he had some moments where he got pushed back, like he was being overpowered, overmatched by bigger-bodied, interior defensive linemen, right? So sometimes he just was overmatched. However, some of it also, once again, it's a little unfair on his injuries, right? Michael Schmitz got injured, but I'm not so much talking about him injured. I'm talking to the guys on the side of him. Where it seemed like there was almost a point in time, they were like almost every time he'd snap the ball, boom, right? They'd run a play, okay? And then they'd set the ball down, and then they'd go back up, call his play, and then he'd turn and he'd look to his one side. He's like, hey, I got a new guard there. What happened to the other guard? Oh, he got injured. Oh, yeah, okay. And then the next game they're playing, all of a sudden he turns to his other side, boom, oh, there's another guard in there. What are you doing in here? Oh, the other guy got injured. It's like, it's very different. You need continuity there, right? Really, really help, and not only good coaching, which the Giants, I really don't think had with Bobby Johnson. Right? So thank goodness that freaking guy's out of there. But let's see what Carmen Brusilla can do here. But, a lot of it has got to do with luck. No offensive line, is going to perform very well, okay, if you don't have continuity. The best offensive lines, for the most part, you maybe have good players, but it also helps if you have 5 guys or at least 4 guys or so that play a majority of the time of the season together. When it's like a revolving door at the guards and all that stuff and everything, you don't know what their strengths and weaknesses are and all that stuff and everything. And it's very tough to get some continuity going at center when your guards, on either side are like revolving doors. You got Justin Pugh coming straight off the couch, So, and the Giants maybe at guards did not have the best, well, not the best, but I don't even question. Certainly probably a bottom 10 as far as guards. So, what he had to play with, what he had to play next to was not exceptional. So for him, he needs, obviously, hopefully he starts working on some of his strength and all that, where he won't get maybe overpowered as much, and quite possibly with some better coaching, right? Some more experience, some more strength, and all that stuff and everything. He'll improve. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Fame center or nothing like that. I'm not saying he's going to be like a Jason Kelsey or something like that, but he should be a very good center, hopefully for years to come, especially if he keeps working on his craft. He keeps working on his game, right? He should be hopefully, on the incline as years to come, right? But as far overall what he did last season, was nothing super duper spectacular. But I want to say I'm still very happy that we drafted him. I'm still very, very hopeful that, as I said, his stock will rise as the years go by. If he can stay healthy, if we can get some good coaching, and if we can get some luck. I'm sorry, my bad. Let me rephrase that. If we can get some good luck, we had a lot of luck last year. Most of it was bad. We can get some good luck and actually stay healthy, okay, right, on the offensive line, and get some continuity going there and get some good coaching. John Michael Schmitz can turn out to be a pretty good center. Then we look at Jalin Hyatt. Some of it, he certainly had his moments last season, but there was other times where it was kind of like, was he on the field? The game during the game I saw the one catch. And there was another pass. They overthrew him, went out of bounds. But was he on the field? Then there were times it was kind of like, where Jalin Hyatt? Where are you? So obviously there's some things he needs to work on, all that stuff and everything. However, once again, when you have no continuity on the offensive line, when you don't have stellar coaching on the offensive line, when you got nothing but injuries and you got a revolving door, just them guys coming straight off the couch and straight this and straight that and all that, You got a third string quarterback in there. There's no continuity and all of that. Sometimes it's tough to hit maybe a speedster going down, down the field and all that. So a lot of his plays might have gone by the wayside because, if they were to maybe trying to hit him deep, you might need time in the pocket to stand in the pocket to throw the, So, but hopefully, Hyatt, once again, hopefully, he'll continue his ascension. His stock will rise as the years go by. Right now, once again, will he turn into an all-pro or something? Who knows? But can he get better? Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, if you look at it, right? I mean, so Banks was very, very good. But then you start looking, with Gray. I mean, he had some. He ran the ball. Not a ton, but a lot of what you remember him last season was, his punt returning, or the lack thereof, shall we say? That's a lot of what I remember from Gray, right? Javarius Owens hardly hit the field a lot, right? So maybe, the Giants, I'm sure they drafted him because he has some very good physical traits, but he was not on the field a lot. So hopefully maybe we'll get some more production out of him. Jordan Riley, once again, he's some depth, right? We're not thinking he's a Hall of Famer, all pro or nothing like that, but he'll be some depth for the Giants, kind of like DJ Davidson, right? Trey Hawkins III, he shined, he sparkled. He was kind of like Haley's Comet, right? Or whatever, shooting star in training camp, right? He was like covering guys like a glove. And it's like, damn, this dude from Old Dominion. Wow. This guy's, oh my God, it's like the steal of the century we got right here. This guy's like, wow. Deion Sanders ain't got nothing on this guy, let me tell you what. And then the regular season started, and it's like, well, the guy's struggling pretty much. So hopefully maybe things will get better with him as time goes by, right? But he got drafted for a reason, right? So let's hope that maybe Jerome Henderson can maybe bring the best out of him. And if not, if he doesn't want to become like an all-pro or nothing like that, which I highly doubt, maybe he can be some good quality depth for the Giants going forward. And if not, certainly because of his physical traits and all, be a big-time contributor on special teams, which would be huge for the Giants, okay? But, it's kind of hard to argue. I mean, the Giants, if you look at their draft class last season, I'm still very happy with Hyatt, still happy with Michael Schmitz, Deontay Banks. Eric Gregg, as I said, he can be a good running back, especially if we're not worried about him returning punts. He can be a good depth piece, especially in the running backs, right? They drafted him for a reason, right? They had some depth at the running back position. Jordan Riley's a big body in the middle of the field there on the defensive line. And I said Trey Hawkins, Javarius Owens. Let's see if they can, get a little bit better. Because usually, a lot of times they say like by the third year, that's where you almost kind of peaked. By your third year, if you're still going into your third year or after your third year, if you're still kind of subpar, things aren't looking too good. But this is the second for Javarius Owens and Trey Hawkins III. This will be their second season, so they're hopefully still on the ascent, right? Going forward, hopefully they're still getting a little bit better. So, but it is hard to argue. I mean, the Giants did not really so much as far as big time contributors last season, really totally knock it out of the park, right? So this year, the Giants hope to see some growth in center, John Michael Schmitz, cornerback Trey Hawkins III, safety Javarius Owens, and defensive lineman Jordan Riley. Eric Gray expected to help fill the void that left by Saquon Barkley, and Hyatt still has to earn the trust of the coaches and quarterbacks. So a C minus, I would probably, whatever. You're cutting hairs there. C minus. I could give him a C. I could see maybe a C plus. Because I said that, we did not have guys come in there. Michael Schmitz was our starting center. Okay. And Banks was our starting cornerback. So, you look at it and we're kind of hoping for years to come. And hopefully with any luck, Hyatt will be a wide receiver, hopefully for years to come. Right. He certainly has the speed, and speed can kill. Right. So once again, I'm still happy because we got our number one cornerback. We have our center. We haven't drafted a center since Jesus Christ was walking the earth. So, yeah, I'm happy with the draft. And wasn't the greatest draft of all time, but I'm happy with the draft. And as I said, and we have a very fast wide receiver. Right? And I said, we added some depth at running back. We added some depth in the secondary. So, yeah. But to grade the group from last season, yeah, I can. There's nothing super spectacular. As of right now, anyway. All right. Then we got this is probably, I think, from Mean Gene Clemens, or Mean Gene Okerlund, as Hulk Hogan would say. Mean Gene. Jack Stoll, the good, the great, and the ugly. What does tight end Jack Stoll bring to the Giants offense? Coach Gene Clemens has your answers. This is from Giants country. New York Giants added tight end depth this offseason, with one of the newcomers being former Philadelphia Eagles tight end Jack Stoll. While the Giants have good options for pass receiving ends, they lacked guys who were solid blockers. In steps Stoll, who spent the past 3 seasons as the number 2 tight end and the most consistent blocking end for the Eagles. Grabbing talent in the division means that the Giants had a lot of film in-house on Stoll, and clearly he feels a need that the team deemed important to their offensive success in 2024. Let's look at the good, the great, and the ugly of the Giants' new blocking end. Good, cut-off blocking. Stoll operated well on cutoff blocks in Philadelphia. One of the things he was asked to do a lot with the Eagles was cut off the backside pursuit against the run zones. He was tasked with working up to the second level and cutting off the backside linebackers chasing the play, which is not easy to do. The key to success in those plays is predicting where the linebacker will be, not where they are aligned. Sometimes the goal is simply to get a hand on the backer and give them something to think about. He could execute these blocks regularly, but with a nuance for linebackers. He was also good at cutting off backers on the play side and giving his running backs a lane to cut, as this clip demonstrates. So we got him over here, okay? Shows his ability to get his body in between the defender and the ball carrier and run blocking. So, right, so he gets, right, boom. So he got in front of him. That's all, that's all. You got a body on a body, right? So, right, you get up to the second level, gets him, right, gets a head on 54. Same thing here with 54, right? Right, walls 54 off from the right, and right there, right, gets down there, right here. You got him right here, right, boom, right, just turns his body, walls him off, right, boom, it walled it off right there, opened up a gap right here against the Vikings, right, you double team, oh, boom, he took on 2 guys, so, so, right, I'll show you his grades in just a minute here. The great, nuanced understanding of run concepts. Now, let's not forget, okay, I can't remember the freaking guy's name, so forgive me, but, he's there with the offensive line coach of the Eagles, who is probably one of the top 2 or so offensive line minds in all of football. He's really, really good. So he had some very good coaching as well. I mean, not only the tight end coaching, but, learning from an offensive line guru, right? So, all right. One of the things that separates the NFL from every other level of football is the number of in-play adjustments players must make, whether it is a route adjustment based on a post-snap coverage or a run lane adjustment due to defenders and gaps. These are essential to play's success, right? Blocking is no different, and it is made even more tricky when the scheme is built for reading defenders. In Eagles' split zone read look, Stoll was tasked with being the cross blocker. However, because of the read element provided thanks to Hurts's ability, Stoll has to decide what to do based on what the backside read defender does. If the defender goes upfield, he goes underneath and works to the second level. If the defender chases the back, he goes around him to lead block for the quarterback. If the defender runs for the mesh, he blocks him. If it takes awareness and calm during chaos, as seen in this clip. The great news of the Giants tight end Jack Stoll is his understanding of blocking concepts. Here you see various ways he blocks on split zone. So right over here, right? I didn't see him block anybody there, but here, once again, here. Okay. Boom, boom. So, help wall that off there. Right? So the thing is, with some of this also is, we're not sure exactly, because what he was asked to do with Jalen Hurts, who runs the ball a lot. Now, if you go back to 2022, if we're talking Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones, a healthy Daniel Jones and a healthy Saquon Barkley and all that, we're talking 2 seasons ago when they both racked up, especially Daniel Jones had all those rushing yards, right? Something like with Stoll, with the quarterback, handing the ball, the RPO, right? Is he going to run it? Is he going to hand the ball off? What's he going to do? You know what I mean? So a couple of seasons ago, some of these blocks we're seeing would have been huge. Fast forward to 2024 with possibly an injured Daniel or a Daniel Jones coming off of injury who may not be asked to run as much. Some of these blocks might be a little, may not come into play because the Giants may not be running some of these plays. Right. All right, so we got here. Okay, he's over here. Boom. Now, that was nice right there. That was a nice block. Good block. Oh, so, all right, the ugly is pass receiving. So, once again, in his 3 seasons in the NFL playing for Philly, Stoll has only 20 receptions. Not good. Says a lot when considering that the Eagles started tight end Dallas Goedert has missed time over the past few years with injuries. And that he has. Goddard's missed some time. So you got your number 2 tight end stepping in, and he still only has 20 receptions. And that's 7 receptions a season? That's not very good. Stoll is not the most natural route runner. He does not possess a lot of wiggle in his game to get in and out of breaks, so most of his routes are shallow crosses, flat routes, and sit routes. There will be times when Stoll is open and Hurts still chooses not to throw him the ball. It probably speaks to his lack of trust as a pass receiver. Here are a few clips of him on routes. He has less than 10 receptions last season. So, right. All right, so here he is right here. He's open. So, to be fair, that was not the greatest pass in the world. If we can, all right. So see, he's here, right? She's wide open, okay, and the ball's way over here. That was a bad pass. He probably got his hands on the ball, and if you ask Stoll, that's on me. But I'm sure if you ask Jalen Hurts, it's kind of like, that's on me. That's a bad pass. But, if he's standing here, the quarterback is, 5, 10. If he's 15 yards away, he's wide open. Jalen Hurts is on the hash mark. Stoll's on the hash mark. And by the time he throws the ball, what is this, like 3 yards, 3 yards away? That's a horrible. You're paid. This guy wants $51 million a season. This guy is wide open, 15 yards away, and you throw the ball 2 yards over. That is absolutely. And the thing is, it's kind of like, it's not like he's running a pass route. Like if he was running across the field and he was flying across the field, and Jalen Hurts is okay, you're flying across the field at your rate of speed. I'm going to throw it here, okay? Because at your rate of speed, when I let it go, by the time at the way you're as fast as you're running, by the time you come here, the ball's going to be right there. And then all of a sudden, then I can see Jalen Hurts, right? If he's flying across the field, throws it and tries to lead him, and then I can see, this being on Stoll. If he's flying across the field, then all of a sudden he just starts lollygagging after Hurts lets it go. But when he's standing there, wide open. You're standing there. You don't have a guy within 35 yards of you. Look at this. I mean, look at this pocket. I mean, they write Bibles, pass blocking, right? This is an NFL clip right here. This pocket right here. You want to see a good pocket for a quarterback? This is it. So when he's standing there, you want $51 million, and this guy's standing right here, and you throw the ball way over here. That's an absolutely freaking. He's standing there. He's not supposed to be right. Hit him. So this is a little unfair. This is an absolutely pathetic throw from Jalen Hurts. $51 million. That's what that gets you. Absolute trash. All right, let's see what we got here in the next one. All right, so he's out over here. Okay. See what we got here. Okay, so all right, so he's here. He's drawing some attention here. Okay, so let's see. Does he break clear? Okay, now, so I'm not sure here if this is right or not. You know, I don't know how many play. Now, let's see here. Oh, okay, Hurts is over here. I'm trying to think, where did Hurts go? But I'm not sure why we got two guys within like 2 yards of each other running across the field. So I think something's wrong here. This could be a screw up by Stoll. Who knows? But this does not look right to me. All right. Okay. So he's on the run. Okay. So he kind of stops. Stoll keeps running. Okay. So that's what we got here. Okay. He throws. All right. So he throws the ball. And what happens here? Did he catch it? Oh, he got it. All right. Well, what was wrong there? I don't understand. That was a good throw on the run from Jalen Hurts. Hit the guy who was wide open. Hit him on the run. Stoll caught it. Didn't look like he gained a boatload of yards, but it was nothing horrible there. All right, so what we got. So I see he's here on this one. So that's what do we got? He's in. Okay. Okay. Does he catch it or no? Catch it? Oh, looks like he caught it. Yeah. So I mean, that's not horrible, but But they'll also say the team needs a legitimate blocker at tight end position. Bringing extra offensive lineman limits the offensive unpredictability, which is true. While Stoll does not provide a pass receiving threat, operating as a tight end 2 or 3 can bring that dynamic to the offense. Ideally, you still want one guy who can do both. Yep. And that is what you hope Bellinger turns into, which will allow Stoll to be more effective in his dimension. But I mean, to be, fair, they brought him in to be pretty much a blocker, but so you don't expect a whole ton from him. Now, if we look here from PFF, right, last season, as you can see, he played 464 snaps. So he got a lot of snaps in there. He got a lot, right? He played in like almost every game, right? Overall graded out of 50.8, but that's his blocking and his receiving. His pass receiving was a 39.4. Right, his pass block was a 51.2. His run block was a 63.6. So nothing, it's respectable. Right, certainly could be better, but once again, his pass receiving, I guess this would be grade is a 39.4. Right, so I mean, his 3 seasons with Philly graded out 54.4 in 2021, 49.7 and a 50.8. His look right here. There's one in his rookie season with the Eagles. He had 36 pass blocking snaps. He graded out 84.2. But you can see they put him in a lot on run blocking, right? A lot on run blocking, right? He played 464 snaps last year. More than half of those were run blocking. Okay, so when he's in there, there's a good chance, he's going to be a blocker. I said last season, more than half of his snaps were run blocking, and he graded out 63.6, which is not bad. So I mean, it's like with him, don't expect the world from him. He should be a decent blocker for you, and he might catch 5 to 10 passes for you for the season, but don't expect a whole heck of a lot out of him. I said, now if you look now on this depth chart here, he's not. Lawrence Cager isn't even on here, so. They got him down here. Lawrence Cager, there he is, right? But as far as I know, the Giants signed Lawrence Cager. But I mean, if we look at the tight ends here, I mean, it's like we got Waller, right? And we got Bellinger, Hurts, Stoll, and Adoree Jackson. So I mean, I said like with Wallinger, yeah, that's combining Waller and Bellinger together. With Bellinger. He said he's got to get better with his blocking, And, I mean, in the receiving department, he has some very good hands, right? But I said, I think it would be nice if between this season and next season, we got our hands somewhere along the line, like what we tried to do with Waller. We signed and brought him in for 3 seasons, right? But the injuries were just not going to go away. So for 3 seasons, we're supposed to have Waller, which is probably not going to happen, and we have having our receiving threat tight end for 3 seasons. So Shane tried. Unfortunately, it did not pan out. It's probably not going to pan out. Unfortunately, we might have Waller I might have had him for 1 season. It cost us a 3rd-round pick. So Shane's living and learning. So is what it is. All right. So then finally, we got here ranking the New York Giants' biggest NFL draft gems of the past decade. So if you go back there, you're going back past decade. We're going to go to 2014. Now the biggest draft gems. You go back to 2014. 2014 to 2023 would be 10 drafts. The last 10 drafts, I guess. Odell Beckham Jr. was they're not talking about a gem. That Odell Beckham, he was a gem. He was really, they're talking about drafting, obviously, somebody in the later rounds who really turned out to be pretty good. Okay. Looking back, these players were absolute steals for the G-men in the draft, especially where they got drafted at. The first one they got on the list here is Darius Slayton. Absolutely. Hard to argue. The 5th-round pick. Since Daniel Jones' arrival in East Rutherford, the only constant amongst the Giants roster has been Darius Slayton. Since coming to the Giants as a 5th-round pick from Auburn, Slayton has been a model of consistency for a team lacking in that department. Since his rookie season in 2019, Slayton has recorded at least 46 receptions and 724 receiving yards in 4 of those 5 campaigns. Very consistent. And that's with not the greatest quarterback play in the world. Very, very rocky pass blocking, okay, and the lack of other offensive weapons in the receiving game. You know what I mean? So for him to, 724 receiving yards in 4 of those 5 campaigns, that's pretty doggone impressive. While not jumping off the page as a number 1 receiver, he has proven to be reliable on the outside and poses a downfield threat for Jones. With such little draft capital invested in Slayton, it's tough not to call him a steal based on his production in New York thus far. And I can't agree with him more. So happy. Darius Slayton is a fantastic guy. I'm so happy he's on the team and everything like that. And let's not forget, was it last season or so? I mean, he was like or was it 2 seasons ago? He was like when Daboll 2 seasons ago when Daboll came in and Shane, he was almost off the team. I mean, he was like receiver like number 7 or 8 or 9 or something like that. He was so far down the depth chart. He was, I think, on the practice squad, and all he did, he just put his head down and kept grinding, and he worked himself into a 2-year deal. Right, last year was his first year. This is to be his 2nd season. He got 2 years, I think, $12 million. Right, he was so happy to come back as a Giant. He just put his head down, kept working, kept grinding. Right, did as much as he possibly could. Right, kept his mouth shut, didn't whine, didn't complain, didn't moan, didn't groan like other players did. Where's my money? Where's the ball? No. He just goes out there and does his best. Right. He did have some problems, obviously, every now and then, dropping some passes. Not so much last season, but, in the past, he has had couple problems dropping balls. But hopefully, he's worked on that, and some of that stuff is behind him. But without question, Slate, I'm so happy. We keep bringing him back. Really, really happy. Heading into next season, providing ample weapons for Jones is the ultimate priority for the Giants coaching staff. With rumors of Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors being a possible selection at number 6, Slayton could be a great mentor and sounding board for these young studs. Now, once again, you get a number 1, you get yourself a dog, that opens stuff up for everybody else, right? Because when you got your dog over here, he's going to take some attention, right? He's going to take maybe somebody, in front of him or maybe carrying him for a little while. Then you'll have maybe somebody over top, right? So that's going to free up a little something over here, maybe, on the other side for Slayton, right? Slayton could be a great mentor, right? With a new and improved O-line, health amongst the skill position groups, and potentially some new additions via the draft, the Giants' offense will look much different heading into 2024. Micah McFadden, absolutely. I'll tell you what. I mean, he, without question, especially his health. I mean, as healthy as he's been the past 2 seasons, I mean, really, I mean, it's very, very, very good season last season, right? Micah McFadden was a bright spot for the G-Men in 2023. The 2022 fifth-round pick made a huge splash on defenses, was the perfect complement to Bobby Okereke. Yes, absolutely. Despite an offense that struggled to move the ball at times, the Giants' defense was solid for a large part of the season, and McFadden had lots to do with their success. Coming out of college from Indiana, McFadden was an effective rookie in his role on the defense, albeit with a very small sample size. With 59 tackles and 2 sacks in his 17 games, there was certainly reason for hope of a second-year leap for the linebacker. Yep. However, even the most optimistic fans likely didn't predict McFadden's breakout in 2023. While compiling 101 tackles in 2023, so much of what McFadden does for the G-Men doesn't show up on the stat sheet. McFadden is a scrappy, hard-nosed football player who finds himself filling gaps and constantly getting involved in the run game. For McFadden, Wink Martindale was the perfect defensive coordinator for his style of play. An aggressive, blitz-heavy play caller allowed McFadden's abilities to flourish. For 2024, it will be Shane Bowen to help him elevate his game to the next level. But, I mean, I think without question, Micah McFadden, solid. I mean, 5th-round pick. Absolutely fantastic. My man, Sterling Shepard. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right. The 2015 2nd-round pick. No, 2016. I'm sorry. Landon Collins was the 2015 2nd-round pick. While maybe not constituting as much of a draft steal as these 5th-round guys, because he was a 2nd-round player. Right. Sterling Shepard has meant as much to the Giants as anyone throughout his career. As a 2nd-round pick from Oklahoma, Shepard has embodied what it means to be a Giant ever since his start in 2016. With 372 career receptions and over 4,000 receiving yards in 90 games as a Giant, Shepard's productivity matches impact. And I said, now, if he actually, stayed healthy, I mean, he would have far greater numbers than what he had. But he just wasn't able to stay healthy. Whether lining up alongside Eli Manning or Jones, Shepard has been a security blanket as a slot receiver and has become a fan favorite over the years. With Shepard battling Father Time and the Giants handing their reins over to Wan'Dale Robinson in 2023 was the last season of Shepard in New York. Fortunately, Shepard was able to bid his farewell to the organization and get a proper send-off, as they show here. Right. The ship man. Right. As Shepard continues contemplating signing with a new squad or retiring, Giants fans will always appreciate his efforts in New York. Regardless of what's next, Shepard will always be a Giant at heart. He will be missed in New Jersey. So, all right, next guy we got here. J Love with special sauce. Absolutely. It's just a shame the Giants couldn't, I guess work. I don't know, get him to come back. I thought they offered him some type of a contract, but I think they offered him something, and he went out and found himself a deal, and maybe he was going to let the Giants try to maybe agree to match what the Seahawks gave him, but I think by the time he found a suitor for him, I think that I don't know if Shane maybe just didn't have any money to bring him back or not, but it's just a shame because especially where he got picked and his versatility was absolutely fantastic with Julian Love. Although not as long tenured as the mentioned prior, Julian Love is another great example of a gem the Giants have grabbed in the draft. Love, a 4th-round selection in 2019, played 4 seasons with Big Blue and constantly made his impact felt in the secondary. Love improved every year in New York and was able to cash in on a new contract with the Seahawks last offseason. During his time in New York, Love grabbed 5 interceptions, posted 291 tackles. In 2022, Love had a breakout year with 124 tackles, a sack, a fumble recovery, and 2 interceptions. Love flew around the field and was always known to punish receivers coming through the middle of the field. Much to the dismay of the Giant fans, Love continued his production in Seattle. He had a great season last season. He had 123 tackles, paired with 4 interceptions, helped lead one of the best secondaries in football. Despite no longer calling New York home, Love has always spoken highly of the Giants organization and has nothing but respect for them. It's hard not to root for a guy like Love who understands that what the Giants are all about. Yeah, I mean, he's certainly, it's like, you draft Love and you draft McKinney. It's like, okay, we got our safeties or whatever, right? So, right, you draft them, you develop them, you sign them, you keep moving forward. We're not worried about safeties, and we just, it's like, I hate that part of the game. I absolutely hate that part of the game. All right, so then we got the last one, and this is a good one too. This is a good one too. Unfortunately, they drafted him, and they let him go. Yeah, and he had his rookie season, BJL. I think it was a 5.5 sacks. Yeah, BJL 2018, 5.5 sacks. And then after that, he started 12 games at 5.5 sacks. And after that, he started 5 games. Then he didn't start any games, right? I mean, it just, was not. We had, with Judge, right? With Judge, he had him in there for, when Judge would want to be the head coach, he didn't start any games, right? Then he got traded to the Bengals, right? Much like Love, B.J. Hill has found plenty of success in his new home since leaving the Giants. A 2018 third-round pick from North Carolina State, played 3 seasons with the G-Men. It was an absolute force in the trenches alongside Dexter Lawrence. Now, we had Dexter Lawrence, we had B.J. Hill, and we had Dalvin Tomlinson, I think, for like a year or so. Well, Dalvin Tomlinson, who was Dalvin Tomlinson? Was he 17? Dalvin Tomlinson, 17. Yeah, so we got Dalvin Tomlinson played 4 seasons, so 17, 18, 19, 20. So in 20, right? We had Dalvin Tomlinson, we got Leonard Williams, right? We had B.J. Hill, we had Sexy Dak. 20. So 19 and 20, we had some good players, some really good players. Unfortunately, none of them with the Giants anymore, except for Dexter Lawrence. And now we're still looking for somebody to be next to Dexter Lawrence. When we had B.J. Hill, we had Leonard Williams, and we had Dalvin Tomlinson. They're all gone, right? And we're still looking for somebody, a big-time player, to be next to Dexter Lawrence. Since heading to Cincinnati in 2021, Hill has only continued to improve statistically and become a big asset for the Bengals team, recording at least 50 tackles in all 3 seasons. Hill snagged his first 2 interceptions last season to pair with 4.5 sacks. While it always hurts to see players succeed elsewhere, it's clear that the Giants were able to develop in-house talent when drafting properly. But they don't they develop, but then they just let him go. I mean, or they they don't. He's not here anymore, right? If you look at it here, right? Let's look right here, right? 17, we drafted Dalvin Tomlinson. 18, B.J. Hill. And actually, let me just pull up right here, right? We shouldn't be looking for an interior defensive lineman. Why? Well, because, right? Sexy Daxine 2019, 2018, B.J. Hill, and 2017, Dalvin Tomlinson. Those are three nice players. Three. Unfortunately, they're all off their rookie contract and they don't want to get paid. And unfortunately, the NFL does not want you being able to keep all your players, unfortunately. And I can't stand that. Absolutely, I can't stand that. But I mean, the Giants had drafted 3 great players, right, in the middle there, right, and here we are, right, in 2024. We're still looking for somebody next to Dexter Lawrence. So for 2020, let's hope the Giants can get their hands on a couple more gems and keep the players dominating in New York for years to come. Now, as I said, if you look here, the Giants, if you go back to Cornelius Griffin, back to 2000, I mean, the Giants have drafted some really good players in the second round on the defensive line. And I'll tell you what, if they pick themselves up a defensive lineman in the second round, I'd be thrilled to death. Add to that front wall, maybe Azeez Ojulari, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and Sexy Dexy, and we add another good defensive tackle in there. Phew. Cornelius Griffin, second round from Alabama. Very good player. But he played, I think, 4 seasons for the Giants. They let him go. I know who we got here. Obviously, OCU Manure, right? Second round, right? William Joseph. He was not very good, but OCU Manure, very, very good. Let's see here. Yeah, a third round, Justin Tuck, right? Second and third round, we've drafted some really good defensive players. Matthias Kiwanuka, okay, first round there. Steve J Alpha, let's see, Phillips, Manningham, okay. Well, I know we're going to start hitting some guys here. Okay, Linville Joseph. I mean, I think the guy's still playing. JPP, first round, second round pick. Stud. Right? Defensive end, defensive tackle. Let's see here. Marvin Austin. Now he was nothing super spectacular there. Right, but then Jonathan Hankins, right? We had him, a good defensive tackle. And of course, I think he played 4 seasons. We let him go. Right. Jay Bromley, nah. But I said, then you start looking at, as I said, then recently, got Dalvin Tomlinson in the second round, BJ Hill in the third round, Sexy Dexy in the first round. And of course, basically the past couple seasons, we haven't really drafted a defensive tackle. We got defensive end Kayvon, okay. But I said, but if you go back to like Cornelius Griffin in the 2000 draft, we've drafted in the first, second, and third round. We've drafted some really good defensive linemen, whether it's an end, whatever you want to call it, a nose tackle, a defensive tackle, a one technique, a 3-10, whatever you want to call them. But we've drafted some very good defensive linemen since going back to 2000. And of course, obviously, if you go back to the Hamilton, and Michael Strands, so we've had a nice history of drafting some defensive linemen. And I said, if we can draft, if we take maybe the stud receiver in the first round, I said there's a good defensive tackle, good defensive lineman in the second round, I would be thrilled to death if we were to pick him up, because then that would almost fortify your defensive front right there, right? Especially for this season. So it is what it is. But once again, it's the draft. We got some time to go. But all right, guys, been 1 hour and 12 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh yeah.